Chapter 1. Ken's morning routine. Ken's alarm blares at 6 a.m., signaling the start of his day. Join him as he goes through his morning routine, from brewing his favorite coffee to fitting in a quick workout before heading to work. Chapter 1. Ken's morning routine. Ken groaned as his alarm blared at 6 a.m., signaling the start of another day. He reached over and silenced the noise, rubbing his eyes as he sat up in bed. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting a soft glow over his small studio apartment. With a sigh, Ken swung his legs over the edge of the bed and stood up, stretching his arms above his head. He shuffled over to the small kitchenette, where he began brewing his favorite coffee. The rich aroma filled the air, waking him up with its comforting scent. As he waited for the coffee to brew, Ken moved through his morning routine. He took a quick shower, the warm water soothing his tired muscles. He brushed his teeth and combed his hair, surveying himself in the mirror with a critical eye. Dressed in a simple t-shirt and jeans, Ken poured himself a cup of coffee and made his way to the tiny living room. He settled onto the threadbare couch and sipped his drink, savoring the bitter taste. Just as he was about to take another sip, his phone buzzed with a text message. It was from his best friend, Sarah. Morning. Don't forget about our brunch date today at 11. Can't wait to catch up. Ken smiled, typing out a quick reply before setting his phone aside. He glanced at the clock and saw that he had a bit of time before he needed to leave for work. Deciding to fit in a quick workout, Ken pushed himself off the couch and grabbed his gym bag. He made his way to the small corner of his apartment where he had set up a makeshift home gym. As he started his routine, he felt the tension and stress of the day melt away. The familiar burn of his muscles working helped clear his mind, allowing him to focus on the present moment. After a solid 30 minutes of exercise, Ken wiped the sweat from his brow and grabbed a towel to pat his face dry. He felt energized and ready to tackle the day ahead. With a sense of accomplishment, Ken quickly showered again and changed into his work clothes. He grabbed his bag and keys, giving his apartment one last look before heading out the door. As he locked up behind him, Ken couldn't help but feel grateful for the simple routines that grounded him each morning. It was these moments of peace and quiet that helped him navigate the chaotic world outside. With a determined stride, Ken headed out into the bustling city, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Today was a new day, and he was determined to make the most of it. Chapter 2. Ken's career path. Explore Ken's journey in the corporate world, from his humble beginnings as an intern to climbing the ranks in his company. Learn about the challenges he faces and the decisions he makes along the way. Chapter 2. Ken's career path. Ken sat at his desk, staring at the computer screen in front of him. He couldn't believe how far he had come in his career. From a lowly intern just a few years ago, he had now climbed the ranks to become a senior manager at one of the top companies in the city. It had been a tough journey, filled with long hours, late nights, and countless sacrifices. But Ken knew that it had all been worth it. He had always been ambitious and driven, with a strong desire to succeed in the corporate world. And now, he was finally reaping the rewards of his hard work. Ken's career had started out small. As an intern, he had been tasked with menial jobs and grunt work. But he had taken on every challenge with enthusiasm and determination, proving himself to be a valuable asset to the company. His hard work had not gone unnoticed, and before long, he had been promoted to a full-time position. Over the years, Ken had worked his way up the corporate ladder, taking on more responsibilities and leadership roles. He had proven himself to be a capable and skilled professional, with a keen eye for detail and a knack for problem solving. His colleagues respected him, his superiors praised him, and he was on track to even higher positions within the company. But the road to success had not been easy. Ken had faced numerous challenges along the way, from demanding clients to office politics to personal setbacks. There were times when he had felt overwhelmed and on the brink of giving up. But through it all, he had persevered, staying focused on his goals and pushing through the obstacles in his path. One of the biggest challenges Ken had faced was a difficult project that had tested his leadership skills to the limit. The project had been plagued with setbacks and delays, and Ken had been under immense pressure to deliver results. But he had risen to the occasion, rallying his team and working tirelessly to ensure the project's success. As Ken reflected on his journey, he knew that there were many more challenges and decisions to come. But he was ready to face them head-on, armed with the experience and knowledge he had gained along the way. Just then, Ken's phone buzzed, interrupting his thoughts. It was his boss, calling him into a meeting to discuss a new project that had just landed on their desk. Ken smiled to himself, feeling the familiar rush of excitement and adrenaline that came with taking on a new challenge. As he got up from his desk and headed towards the meeting room, Ken knew that his career path was far from over. But he was confident in his abilities and determined to continue climbing the ranks, carving out a successful and fulfilling future for himself in the corporate world. Chapter 3. Ken's passion for photography. Delve into Ken's love for photography and how he captures moments that inspire him. Follow him as he explores different techniques and styles, finding joy in every click of the camera. Chapter 3. Ken's passion for photography. Ken's love for photography began at a young age. He was always captivated by the ability of a camera to freeze moments in time, preserving memories that would otherwise fade away. His first camera was a hand-me-down from his father, a simple point-and-shoot that sparked a passion in Ken that would last a lifetime. As he grew older, Ken's interest in photography only deepened. He spent hours poring over photography books, studying the works of famous photographers and learning about different techniques and styles. He experimented with different cameras, lenses, and editing software, constantly pushing himself to improve and innovate. Ken's photography was not just a hobby, it was a form of self-expression. He found joy in capturing the beauty of nature, the expressions of people, and the emotions of moments. Whether it was a breathtaking sunset, a candid portrait, or a bustling cityscape, Ken approached each shot with an artist's eye, always seeking to convey a story or evoke an emotion. One of Ken's favorite subjects to photograph was his dog, Max. Max was a loyal and playful companion, always willing to pose for the camera with a wag of his tail and a tilt of his head. Ken's photos of Max captured the essence of their bond, showcasing the love and happiness they shared. Ken's friends and family often marveled at his skill behind the camera. They would gather around as Ken displayed his latest shots, oohing and awing at the vivid colors, the sharp details, and the powerful compositions. It was clear to everyone who knew him that photography was not just a hobby for Ken, it was a calling. One evening, as Ken was out photographing the city skyline at sunset, he encountered a fellow photographer named Sarah. Sarah was a professional photographer who had been in the industry for years, and Ken was immediately drawn to her passion and talent. They struck up a conversation, sharing tips and tricks, exchanging stories, and bonding over their shared love of photography. "I can tell you have a real gift for capturing moments," Sarah said, admiring Ken's work. "Your photos have a soulfulness to them that is rare to find." Ken blushed at the compliment, grateful for the validation from someone he admired. He had always dreamed of honing his photography skills and maybe even pursuing it as a career, but he had never felt confident enough to take the leap. "Thank you, Sarah," Ken replied. "Your words mean a lot to me. Photography has always been my passion, but I never thought I could make a living out of it." Sarah smiled warmly. "Don't underestimate yourself, Ken. With your talent and dedication, the sky's the limit. You have a unique perspective and a strong eye for composition. You could go far in this field." Ken felt a surge of excitement at Sarah's words. Maybe it was time to take a chance, to pursue his passion wholeheartedly and see where it could take him. He knew it wouldn't be easy. The world of photography was competitive and unforgiving, but he was willing to put in the work and take the risks. As Ken packed up his gear and bid farewell to Sarah, a newfound sense of purpose filled his heart. He was determined to follow his passion for photography, to capture moments that inspired him and to share them with the world. With a click of the shutter, Ken set out on a new chapter in his life, ready to unpack the beauty and wonder of the world through his lens. Chapter 4. Ken's adventure in the great outdoors. Join Ken on a thrilling outdoor adventure as he hikes through rugged mountains and camps under the stars. Experience the beauty of nature through his eyes and feel the adrenaline rush of exploration. Chapter 4. Ken's adventure in the great outdoors. Ken had always been drawn to the great outdoors. The vast expanse of nature called to him, offering a sense of freedom and adventure that he couldn't find anywhere else. So when the opportunity to go on a hiking trip presented itself, Ken jumped at the chance. With his backpack slung over his shoulder and a determination in his step, Ken set off into the rugged mountains. The trail was steep and rocky, but Ken was undeterred. He powered through, his muscles burning but his spirit soaring as he climbed higher and higher, the world spreading out before him in all its breathtaking beauty. As he hiked, Ken marveled at the wildflowers that bloomed along the path, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the muted tones of the mountains. He stopped to listen to the rush of a nearby river, its waters tumbling over rocks and creating a soothing symphony that filled the air. At last, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ken found the perfect spot to set up camp for the night. He pitched his tent in a clearing near a crystal-clear stream, the sound of the water lulling him to sleep as he gazed up at the star-studded sky above. The next morning, Ken awoke to the chirping of birds and the gentle rustle of the wind through the trees. He brewed a pot of coffee over his camp stove, savoring the rich, earthy aroma as he watched the sun rise over the mountains. As he packed up his campsite and prepared to continue his journey, Ken felt a sense of exhilaration and freedom unlike anything he had ever experienced. The wilderness was his playground, and he was determined to explore every inch of it. But as he hiked deeper into the mountains, he realized that the great outdoors was not without its challenges. The terrain grew more treacherous, the weather more unpredictable. Ken faced steep cliffs, raging rivers, and sudden storms that threatened to derail his adventure. Yet through it all, Ken persevered. He pushed through his fear, embraced the unknown, and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. And as he stood at the summit of a towering peak, the world stretching out below him in all its majesty, Ken knew that this was just the beginning of his greatest adventure yet. Wow, this is amazing, Ken whispered to himself, a sense of wonder and awe filling his heart. I never knew the great outdoors could be so exhilarating and beautiful. I can't wait to see what other adventures await me out here. As he continued on his journey, Ken's spirit soared, his soul at peace in the vast expanse of nature. The great outdoors had captured his heart, and he knew that he would always return to its embrace, seeking new thrills and challenges to conquer. And with each step he took, Ken felt more alive than ever before, his world expanded and enriched by the wonders of the wilderness. Chapter 5. Ken's Circle of Friends. Meet the diverse group of friends who support Ken through thick and thin. From childhood buddies to work colleagues, discover how each relationship shapes Ken's worldview and influences his decisions. Chapter 5. Ken's Circle of Friends. One of the most important aspects of Ken's life is his circle of friends. These are the people who have been there for him through thick and thin, offering support, advice, and a shoulder to lean on when times get tough. From childhood buddies to work colleagues, Ken's friends come from all walks of life, each bringing their own unique perspective and personality to the table. First up is Mark, Ken's childhood best friend. The two of them have been inseparable since they were kids, sharing countless adventures and memories together. Mark is the type of friend who always has Ken's back, no matter what. Whether it's helping him move into a new apartment or staying up all night talking through a breakup, Mark is always there for Ken, no questions asked. Then there's Sarah, Ken's college roommate turned confidant. Sarah is the yin to Ken's yang, always keeping him grounded and reminding him to take time for himself. She's the one who encourages him to try new things, whether it's skydiving or taking up painting. Sarah is the voice of reason in Ken's life, helping him see things from a different perspective and challenging him to grow and evolve as a person. Next on the list is Alex, Ken's coworker and fellow sports enthusiast. The two of them bonded over their love of basketball and have been hitting the court together every weekend for years. Alex is the competitive one, always pushing Ken to be the best version of himself, both on and off the court. He's the friend who challenges Ken to step out of his comfort zone and reach for new heights, both in his career and personal life. And finally, there's Lisa, Ken's neighbor and partner in crime. Lisa is the wild card of the group, always up for a spontaneous adventure or late-night escapade. She's the one who reminds Ken to let loose and have fun, even when life gets stressful. Lisa is the friend who brings out Ken's playful side, making him laugh and forget his worries for a while. Together, these friends make up Ken's support system, his sounding board, and his cheerleaders. They each play a unique role in his life, shaping his worldview and influencing his decisions. Whether it's a heart-to-heart conversation with Mark, a reality check from Sarah, a pep talk from Alex, or a crazy adventure with Lisa, Ken knows he can always count on his friends to be there for him, no matter what. And in return, he does the same for them, cherishing the bonds they've formed and the memories they've created together. Chapter 6. Ken's Family Dynamics. Uncover the complexities of Ken's family life, from his close bond with his parents to the sibling rivalries that occasionally arise. Explore the dynamics of his upbringing and how they continue to impact him. Chapter 6. Ken's Family Dynamics. Ken's family life was a complex web of relationships that shaped his upbringing and continue to impact him in adulthood. He was the middle child, sandwiched between his older brother Alex and younger sister Emily. From a young age, Ken had always felt like a peacemaker in the family, trying to keep the peace between his siblings and parents. Ken's parents, David and Sarah, had a loving and supportive relationship. They had always encouraged their children to pursue their passions and dreams, instilling in them the importance of hard work and dedication. Ken admired his parents' strong bond and hoped to one day have a relationship as solid as theirs. Despite the overall harmony in his family, there were occasional sibling rivalries that would arise. Alex, being the eldest, often felt the pressure to set a good example for his younger siblings. He excelled in academics and sports, always striving to be the best at everything he did. This sometimes created tension between him and Ken, who felt overshadowed by his brother's accomplishments. On the other hand, Emily was the baby of the family, often getting away with things that Ken and Alex never could. She was the apple of their parents' eyes, with her charming smile and bubbly personality. Ken found himself both protective of his sister and envious of the attention she received. As Ken grew older, he began to see how his family dynamics had shaped him into the person he was today. He realized that his role as the peacemaker had made him adept at diffusing conflicts and finding common ground with others. He also recognized that his desire to excel in his career and personal life stemmed from the example set by his parents and older brother. One evening, as Ken sat down for dinner with his family, he couldn't help but reflect on how far they had all come. The conversation flowed naturally, with Alex updating everyone on his latest achievements at work, Emily gushing about her upcoming dance recital, and their parents beaming with pride. "Ken, how's everything going with your new project at work?" Sarah asked, breaking the momentary silence. Ken smiled, grateful for the chance to share his own accomplishments with his family. "It's going really well, actually. I'm proud of the progress we've made so far," he replied. David nodded in approval. "That's my boy," he said, patting Ken on the back. "I always knew you had a knack for leadership." Ken felt a swell of pride at his father's words, realizing just how much his family's support meant to him. Despite their occasional disagreements and rivalries, at the end of the day, they were a unit, bound by love and unwavering support for each other. As the evening drew to a close, Ken silently thanked his lucky stars for the family he had been blessed with. They were his rock, his foundation, and the driving force behind all his achievements. And as he drifted off to sleep that night, he knew that no matter what challenges life threw his way, he would always have his family by his side, cheering him on every step of the way. Chapter 7. Ken's Travel Escapades. Embark on a whirlwind tour of Ken's favorite travel destinations, from bustling cities to tranquil beach resorts. Experience the thrill of discovery as he immerses himself in new cultures and experiences. Chapter 7. Ken's Travel Escapades. As Ken sat at his desk, staring at the computer screen filled with photos of exotic destinations, his heart raced with excitement. He had always been a wanderlust at heart, craving the thrill of venturing into new territories and experiencing the unknown. Over the years, he had amassed a collection of travel memories that were dear to his heart, each destination leaving a lasting imprint on his soul. One of his favorite travel escapades took him to the bustling city of Tokyo, Japan. The vibrant energy of the city enveloped him as he wandered through the crowded streets, marveling at the blend of traditional and modern architecture. Ken immersed himself in the rich culture of Japan, trying out the local cuisine and participating in traditional tea ceremonies. He even found himself lost in translation during a comical conversation with a friendly local who tried to teach him some basic Japanese phrases. From the bustling city life of Tokyo, Ken found solace in the tranquil beach resorts of Bali, Indonesia. The turquoise waters and pristine beaches provided the perfect backdrop for relaxation and rejuvenation. Ken spent his days surfing the waves, indulging in Balinese massages, and soaking up the breathtaking sunsets. He struck up an unlikely friendship with a local surf instructor who shared stories of the island's mystical traditions and vibrant festivals. But Ken's travel escapades weren't confined to just one continent. He also ventured into the heart of Africa, where he explored the vast plains of the Serengeti in Tanzania. The majestic wildlife and awe-inspiring landscapes left him speechless, as he witnessed the great migration of thousands of wildebeests and zebras. He forged unforgettable memories with a Maasai warrior who taught him the art of tracking animals and shared stories of his tribe's ancestral traditions. Each travel escapade left Ken with a renewed sense of wonder and appreciation for the beauty of the world. He cherished the connections he made with locals and fellow travelers, their stories and experiences becoming a part of his own. As he planned his next adventure, Ken knew that the world was full of endless possibilities, waiting to be explored and cherished. And with a heart full of wanderlust, he was ready to embark on his next travel escapade, eager to uncover the hidden gems that awaited him. Chapter 8. Ken's Creative Projects. Witness Ken's creative side as he delves into various projects, from painting to writing to music composition. See how he channels his inner artist and expresses himself through different mediums. Chapter 8. Ken's creative projects. Ken had always been a creative soul, constantly seeking out new ways to express himself and push the boundaries of his own creativity. Whether it was through painting, writing, or music composition, Ken always found solace in the act of creating something from nothing. One of Ken's favorite creative projects was his painting. He would spend hours in his makeshift studio, surrounded by canvases and paintbrushes, letting his imagination run wild. His paintings ranged from abstract pieces that seemed to come straight from his dreams to intricate landscapes that captured the beauty of nature. One day, as Ken sat in front of his easel, lost in thought as he worked on a new piece, his friend Sarah entered the room. "Wow, Ken, this painting is incredible," Sarah exclaimed, peering over his shoulder at the canvas. Ken smiled, appreciating the validation of his work. "Thanks, Sarah. I've been really inspired lately, and I think this piece might be one of my best yet." Sarah nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You know, Ken, I've always admired your talent for painting. Have you ever thought about showcasing your work in a gallery?" Ken paused, considering her suggestion. The idea of sharing his paintings with a wider audience both thrilled and terrified him. "I've thought about it, but I'm not sure if my work is good enough to be displayed in a gallery." Sarah placed a hand on his shoulder, offering words of encouragement. "Ken, your talent is undeniable. Don't let self-doubt hold you back. Believe in yourself and your art. I have no doubt that the world will appreciate your unique perspective." Ken smiled, grateful for Sarah's unwavering support. Maybe it was time to take a leap of faith and share his paintings with the world. In addition to his passion for painting, Ken also had a love for writing. He spent countless hours hunched over his laptop, typing away at stories and poems that came to him in bursts of inspiration. His words flowed effortlessly, each sentence a glimpse into the depths of his soul. One evening, as Ken sat in his favorite coffee shop, engrossed in his latest writing project, he was interrupted by a familiar voice. "Hey there, Ken. What are you working on today?" It was his friend David, a fellow writer who shared Ken's passion for storytelling. Ken grinned, gesturing to his open laptop. "Just jotting down some ideas for a new short story. Inspiration struck me out of nowhere, and I had to get it down on paper." David chuckled, pulling up a chair next to Ken. "I know that feeling all too well. The creative urge can be overwhelming, can't it?" Ken nodded, sipping his coffee thoughtfully. "It's like a fire burning inside me, begging to be unleashed through my writing. It's a feeling unlike any other." David leaned in, his eyes alight with curiosity. "So, what's this story about? Any juicy details you care to share?" Ken laughed, enjoying the playful banter with his friend. "Ah, you'll have to wait and see, David. I don't want to give too much away just yet. But I promise, it's going to be a wild ride." As the evening stretched on, Ken and David discussed their shared love for writing, exchanging ideas and offering feedback on each other's work. It was moments like these that reminded Ken of the power of creativity to connect people and inspire endless possibilities. In addition to painting and writing, Ken also dabbled in music composition. He had a natural talent for creating melodies that touched the heart and stirred the soul. His music was a reflection of his innermost thoughts and emotions, a soundtrack to his life's journey. One day, as Ken sat at his keyboard, lost in a melody that had been swirling in his mind for days, his roommate Mark entered the room. "Hey, Ken, what beautiful music you're playing. Did you compose that yourself?" Mark asked, marveling at the hauntingly beautiful tune that filled the air. Ken nodded, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Yes, I did. Music has always been a passion of mine, and I find so much joy in creating melodies that speak to the heart." Mark settled onto the couch, closing his eyes as he listened to Ken's music wash over him like a gentle wave. "You truly have a gift, Ken. Your music is so evocative, it's like a window into your soul." Ken felt a swell of gratitude in his chest, knowing that his music resonated with others in a profound way. "Thank you, Mark. Music has a way of transcending words and reaching places within us that we never knew existed. It's a powerful form of expression." As the day turned into night, Ken and Mark sat in comfortable silence, immersed in the ethereal world of Ken's music. It was moments like these that reminded Ken of the transformative power of creativity and the boundless possibilities that awaited him on his artistic journey. In the tapestry of Ken's life, his creative projects were like vibrant threads that wove together to create a masterpiece of self-expression and discovery. Through painting, writing, and music composition, Ken allowed his inner artist to flourish, painting the canvas of his life with bold strokes of color, intricate words, and soul-stirring melodies. As Ken continued to explore his creativity and push the boundaries of his artistry, he knew that the possibilities were endless. With each new project he embarked on, Ken discovered more about himself and the world around him, unlocking the hidden depths of his soul and revealing the true essence of his being. Ken's creative projects were not just hobbies or pastimes, they were a reflection of his innermost thoughts, desires, and dreams. They were a window into his soul, a mirror that reflected the beauty and complexity of his existence. And as Ken's journey unfolded, filled with twists and turns, challenges and triumphs, he knew that his creative projects would always be there, guiding him like beacons of light in the darkness, illuminating the path to his truest self. In the world of Ken's creativity, anything was possible. And he was ready to embrace it all, one brushstroke, one word, one note at a time. Chapter 9. Ken's Personal Challenges. Follow Ken as he confronts personal demons and struggles with self-doubt. Witness his resilience and determination as he navigates through tough times and emerges stronger on the other side. Chapter 9. Ken's Personal Challenges. As Ken continued on his journey of self-discovery and personal growth, he encountered many challenges along the way. One of the biggest obstacles he faced was his own self-doubt and insecurity. Despite his outward confidence and success in his career, Ken struggled with feelings of inadequacy and fear of failure. "I don't know if I'm good enough," Ken confided in his friend Lisa one evening as they sat at a cozy cafe sipping on lattes. "I keep questioning myself and wondering if I'm on the right path." Lisa, a supportive and wise friend, listened intently as Ken poured out his heart. "Ken, you are more than good enough. You are talented, hardworking, and deserving of all the success that comes your way. Don't let your doubts hold you back." Ken nodded, taking in her words of encouragement. He knew that he needed to confront his inner demons and push past his insecurities in order to truly achieve his goals. With a newfound determination, Ken set out to face his personal challenges head-on. He enrolled in a mindfulness meditation course to help quiet his racing thoughts and cultivate a sense of inner peace. He also started seeing a therapist to work through his deep-seated fears and insecurities. Through these practices, Ken began to see gradual changes in himself. He found that the more he confronted his fears and doubts, the more empowered he felt. He started to believe in himself and his abilities, recognizing that he was worthy of success and happiness. As Ken dove deeper into his personal growth journey, he also found solace in his hobbies and passions. He threw himself into his photography, capturing moments of beauty and truth that reflected his inner journey. He spent hours hiking in nature, finding peace and clarity amidst the trees and mountains. Ken's struggles with self-doubt and insecurity were not easy to overcome, but with perseverance and support from loved ones, he was able to emerge stronger on the other side. He learned to trust in himself and his abilities, finding inner strength and resilience in the face of adversity. With a newfound sense of confidence, Ken continued on his path of self-discovery, knowing that he was capable of overcoming any challenge that came his way. And as he faced each hurdle with courage and determination, he knew that he was destined for great things in his future. Chapter 10. Ken's Next Chapter. As Ken's story unfolds, look ahead to the exciting possibilities that await him in the future. Join him as he takes on new challenges, explores uncharted territory, and continues to live life to the fullest in Ken's World, a life unpacked. Chapter 10. Ken's Next Chapter. As Ken sat at his desk, staring out the window at the bustling city below, he couldn't help but feel a sense of restlessness. He had achieved so much in his career, climbing the corporate ladder with determination and skill. But now, as he approached a new chapter in his life, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more out there for him. His phone buzzed on his desk, breaking him out of his thoughts. It was his friend Jason, inviting him to join him on a hiking trip in the mountains next weekend. Ken's heart leapt at the idea of getting away from the city, breathing in fresh air, and challenging himself in the great outdoors. "Hey Ken, what do you say?" Jason's voice came through the phone, full of excitement. Ken grinned, feeling a surge of energy coursing through him. "Count me in, Jason. It's time for a new adventure." The week flew by in a blur of meetings and deadlines, but Ken found himself looking forward to the weekend like never before. As he packed his hiking gear and drove up to the mountains with Jason, he felt a sense of anticipation building within him. The hike was challenging, pushing Ken to his limits as they navigated steep trails and rocky terrain. But with each step, he felt more alive than ever before, the beauty of nature surrounding him and filling him with a sense of peace. As they reached the summit, Ken stood at the edge of a cliff, the wind whipping through his hair and the world stretching out before him. In that moment, he realized that there was so much more to life than just work and routine. There were endless possibilities waiting for him, just beyond the horizon. As they made their way back down the mountain, Ken knew that this was just the beginning of his next chapter. He had tasted adventure, and he was hooked. There were so many mountains to climb, so many trails to explore, and so many moments to savor. And as he drove back to the city, with the sun setting in the distance and a fire burning in his soul, Ken couldn't help but smile. The future was full of promise, and he was ready to embrace it with open arms. This was Ken's world, and he was determined to unpack every moment of it.